inviting and sponsoring them to contribute to the intellectual deliberations in the conference? Could be more than one. Or are we encouraging them to also vie for a seat in administration of such of those conferences, working for vice president of the association, a secretary of the association, or a expert member on the paper panel and so on and so forth, or industry academia relationship, so that you have more than one things to work for as a university, and you use that precious resource of money and time to gain more mileage out of it. Could be new colleagues who come up, new colleagues either to academia or new colleagues otherwise inexperienced, maybe one or two conferences we send them to familiarize themselves. How is paper read? What kind of questions come up? What kind of preparation? Well, that's also our job. That's part of nurturing, part of faculty development and so on. But wherever we are asking them to go over and present a paper, which again is very good, it's laudable, could we have a system that much before my colleague will go from the faculty to present the paper or even to send a paper, can there be a seminar within the faculty? Can there be a seminar within the faculty that I am preparing this paper for this conference, this is the theme, I've chosen this topic on, I've worked on, here are my thoughts. So that A, there could be a little rehearsal, B, there could be content enrichment by your comments and suggestions to further improve upon it. The reason is, any paper which is presented is also presented by you from this university. Each one of us is a walking brand, and you become a talking brand also over there. Okay, so if people do not find a connect, if they do not find a value, then they don't depreciate you, they depreciate university also around that. And we need to be particular on that. Second, the rest of the colleagues also get to know that what my colleague is working on, so you have a strong internal PR as well. And the good part would be have a one-page summary circulate to all faculty members, have a pre-planned day and a time, and do give the benefit of your critical suggestions to enrich the paper, so that the final draft which is sent is a draft where the faculty says, yes, I think it's worth participating in. After you come back from the seminar, there's a need for another seminar to be done by the same faculty. What were other papers or sessions that you participated? What have been the contemporary thinking going on? Maybe 2 minutes each on 3 or 4 major papers, or paper which impressed you better, you could talk about. So others also get to the benefit of where we are going in for. We have adopted this kind of a system at a couple of institutions, and we found it paid many, many dividends. As much as many a time we have encouraged a final year student to work along with the faculty, and it becomes the student's presentation where faculty is available over there in case there is any question to be answered to the audience, so that you build the student also with that kind of a thing, particularly when students are going for MTech programs and so on. Sure enough, I think this can be nurtured, this can be cultivated and worked upon. One way of looking at it. A second way of looking at it is, if you are sending some students, which you are doing, or you're sending a young faculty, how to ask the question and what kind of question to ask. I think some practice is required on that, and I will say the same thing. When you invite the guest speaker in the very first trimester or semester of your course and nobody asks the question, the first impression which goes is students do not have the confidence even to ask anything. So you have somebody coming in and you painted not so good a picture. Sometimes we have seen students come in and ask a question, they do not even know how to ask a question. So maybe it's another part of mentoring the students. I'm crossing the boundaries. That before a guest speaker comes in, could we nurture a few students and say, all right, he's coming from this kind of a thing. May not be company specific question, it could be trade specific question, it could be industry specific question, or it could be based on the business standard reading, something which becomes more concurrent, and somebody could have the art of asking question, specific, clear enough, so that you give an impression that the students over here are being nurtured well, because that's your first step towards building relevant visibility for placement and brand image. If you could work on to that, I think it will be further helping us to even meet those kind of things and so on.
Our students. And the same question was asked from me only once the program was over. That you please teach them how to ask questions or ask questions.
Good, very good. And saying yes, I think we do help them to pick it up. I think it's a good thing. That's our job. That's our job. Fantastic. You talked about SIP. I hope we all know students' activity. I do not know whether as part of the policy we could adopt it over here. I hope we have along with the student a mentor and a teacher. If possible, let the teacher also visit the company where the student is doing the internship. Maybe visit 2 weeks after the program has started. Just go and meet with the supervisor, the person with whom a student is working. And our intention is not to find out the fault of the student, but just to say, we come from this university, he has been our student, he is working on this project. Thank you very much for the opportunity your company has provided for. We are grateful. We would also like you to let us know which areas we should focus more on, nurturing him up to be a good executive, to be a good manager, to be a good practitioner. Because here's a person with whom you are working, and they would be able to speak on the conduct, the mannerism, the punctuality, the quality of thought, the initiative, the leadership, the team working. You also have an opportunity to ask the person, how would you rate this student in terms of knowledge coefficient or commitment coefficient against others in the same company? Because you would find companies don't take people only from one institution. They would have 5, 6 different institutions whose students would be undergoing that kind of a training. So you also get an idea on better benchmarking as to the students were coming in, say, from MIT, or they were coming in from IIPM type of institutions, or they were also from 4, or there was one student also from MDI. I think it gives you a different platform to talk about with whom they were intermingling. And our purpose to guide these students would be, do interact with other students, other institutions, find out what kind of coverage goes on in the class, what kind of cases they are doing over there, because many a time we may not be aware as to what kind of contemporary approaches those institutions might be following. Could be we have seen and got hints on, if so-and-so came in as a guest speaker, that was great. So maybe we could also reach the same company and have it with the same guest speaker or a different guest speaker from the same company. The idea is use these opportunities as positive signals to further enrich the entire process. When the SIP, do we have a practice of SIP presentation? After students have come in and submitted report, is there a presentation over here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
In engineering we are having.
Okay. In management and other courses, perhaps if you could start on, there must be a presentation. It could be a short 10-minute presentation. And this itself will be a learning for them as to how they work for 4 weeks, 6 weeks or 8 weeks. They have to sum up everything in 10 minutes. And you could again give them a criteria as to what must they cover in those 10 minutes. And again have peer rating on those. My suggestion would be, in case you're working on to it, do 2 things. Number 1, make it mandatory for all students of the course to attend that. Here I would like to make it mandatory. Because what they will benefit, if they're going on to 10 different companies to do the internship, then every student is having the benefit of 10 different companies exposure. What subject did my colleague work on? What scope did they cover? What methodology did they follow? What kind of findings they came across? Much more than case studies, this becomes a live learning to each one of them. Number 2, do invite those companies also to come in and sit through the presentation, particularly the supervisor. It has immense payoffs. A, they take pride in coming. B, they are able to clarify if the student has not been able to put the context. and not only they feel happy about it, okay,
Yes.
you have a great placement thing also working on. And those people come along with over here, you have a great link with the company. And please do remember, when you visit or your students are asking over there, do ask them to find out who is the HR manager who looks after campus recruitment. What is the process of selection? Do they have some biases? And you will find different companies in placement have 3 or 4 levels of pay packages. If some of them are recruiting from IIMs, they have a different package. Then they go for A-rated schools in their own category, B-rated schools, where do we come in? So that we are able then to size up how to market your own student in the institution so that you could have them at a higher level and know their requirements. Placement department may work, and I hope nobody minds it. Placement department may work day and night. They would never have the most updated list than this link can provide you for. Because people keep changing in the companies, and unfortunately in the corporate sector, whenever you send your placement directories or brochures or whatever by name, if the person has gone there, nobody bothers to open it up and transfer to somebody. And if it is by mail, many companies seize off the mail also, so it goes only to the junk. So this is a very good way for you to get on, and hence keep it updated, and rather take leads from there and say, help us in seeing that the students get accepted. My purpose of faculty support was one more. We are relatively a newer university. Help your student to do an extraordinary work, because the expectations from SGT University of every employer, please don't mind it, may not be very high, but when they will see the output which has come out is more than the expectation, you would always work towards gaining the reception of placement. This may open up the door to second year live projects you are referring to. How do you get live projects? Live projects again come from the company. So once you have worked with a supervisor, you could also say, sir, weekends we have easy time. We could always be happy to work along with you. And you get an opportunity to work on a live project, and live project keeps you contemporary, teaches you much more than body language, the technical content also, and hence you will have more confident students working. Okay, so this was a point on that. Coming back to the point on faculty. What's the first rate in faculty? The definition is very fluid. I'll begin with one element of fluidity. Who in this august audience will say, I am not a first class teacher? Who will say I am not a first class teacher?
No one.
No. No. Don't be so humble that you tumble. Sure, but doesn't mean you're not first class. It's all a question of what the institutional needs are. In the initial stages, as a university, we need to create our image. We need to create our image. If I could say so, more than 80% of that through excellence of learning in the classroom. Our students will be our best ambassadors. Our parents will further endorse us when they find our child, our ward, got something, he got placed, or is working very well, and we see a distinct change in that. So in the initial stages of any university, second presentation could come in. And you may not be surprised, at the IIMs, even after all the rigorous exercise, we do not hire people on a cadre. We hire them on a contract. And many a time, 1-year contract. And the purpose of the contract is, there's a flexibility on both the sides. You are a bachelor and I am a bachelor. And I hope the difference between a bachelor and a married professor is, bachelor professor can get out of the bed from either side. Married cannot. Married cannot, it's only one side. Isn't it? So be a bachelor rather in their orientation. And 1 year, 1 course, 2 courses is good enough for us. Should we have a permanent alliance or should we not? Okay? So we have ways of checking it up, and I think we work on, and you don't need to be shy about that.
So this concept has come in social life also?
Yes, I
Yeah, live in relationship.
You always have it.
Relationship में आएंगे.
Okay. The second observation is why I said so. It depends on the age. If supposing you are applying for the NAC, if you are applying for any international or regional accreditation, then over there are certain expectations minimum on the level of research. Hence, you need faculty which is strong in research as well. Is right? So then my blend starts going. I need for the area about 4 core teachers. I need another 3 who could do part teaching, maybe half teaching and half research. Then I start focusing a lot more on their research acumen to work on to that. My third level in the case of commerce and management is consultancy and MDPs. So I need more managers who have a hands-on experience of how to dirty the hands and be there where the guns are sound. If this is so, then I would see, all right, doesn't matter if the fellow doesn't have a PhD. Okay, we will have him from industry because my purpose is to go more towards management development programs, executive development programs, and then at that point of time, that becomes critical. What is common amongst all is a first-rate teacher at the early stage is a 90% teacher. In the second stage of research, he is a 60% teacher, 40% research. In the third case, he is perhaps 60% for industry orientation programs and 40% to bring the art to the classroom. And this combination or a mix we keep on using and accordingly keep on working. To a wonderful suggestion, do we get a first-rate teacher? The answer is, we strive for that. And then becomes our job. How do we nurture them? How do we build them up? Sponsoring them for programs, sponsoring them for doing a course, doing the summer internship in the industry, in the case of commerce and management, or so on are the opportunities. Create some seed funds, encourage faculty to do research. Get them associated in doing certain work. These are all works in progress way to go on. And hence we nurture faculty. Joint teaching of courses, yet one comes in, let both of them join each other, nurture them, build them up, and they come up. Luckily today, you have a large number of faculty development programs happening. I look to IITs and IIMs from one more angle. And so do the medical colleges. All these colleges have the faculty development programs. And believe me, the time when I was in IIM or even afterwards, there is always a clause of an observer. So even you could write to IIM Ahmedabad, then next they have a 4-week teachers program that you would like to request you to be admitted as an observer. As an observer, there is no fees for you. You could sit through the program, qualify through the program, build up the program. IIMs also have a 1-year-long program and a 3-month-long program.
Yeah.
So if you have a good teacher with a good credential, good commitment, sure enough, you could, at the department or faculty level, sponsor them to go through the 12 weeks program. They come back trained, they come back prepared, and I think they learn more, they teach more. Many a time, we become narrow-minded, to be very honest. If I train my faculty, they will leave my university, go elsewhere. My take on this is twofold. Teachers or the for-purpose employees leave more instantly when the boss is bad, not because the atmosphere is bad. So if that is so, maybe I need to mend my ways of conducting myself. Number 2, some always go out for progression, for there may be no opportunity. Wherever such a person will go, his credential will say he is from SGT. Send him as a good ambassador. A message to HR people, keep link with the person concerned. They will come back when you have professor position available, when you have HOD position available, when you have dean position available, and this goes worldwide. Universities don't cut the cord, they keep the doors open